Hello again, Talking Hoops with Jandy, the man who knows high school basketball. How are you, sir?
I follow it. I don't know how much I know, but I am going to take a few stabs today in predicting who's going to make it to state.
Time for the playoffs, the Sodak 16, and touch on this a little bit. This is a format that is relatively new. It goes a little against regional representation. It takes 16 teams, puts them in this format. They reseed to go to the state tournament, but why go to this format instead of the old region qualifiers go to state?
There were so many times that you'd have a stocked region and you'd have a great team, maybe one of the top 5 teams in the state left home, not going to the state tournament. That got a little old for teams like Sioux Falls Christian or Del Rapids or a lot of those Madison teams that were in the same region. But what it does is I think it takes the best of both worlds. You still have regional representation to make it to the Sodak 16. You take your 2 best teams from each region to make it to this point. And then you get the best of the best going to the state tournament, which is the way I think it should be.
A lot of people like it, some people don't.
Yeah, that's how everything works in high school. Anytime you're making any kind of classifications or any kind of playoff choices, a lot of people like it and some people don't.
Class B girls, Sodak 16 will play on Thursday.
Yes.
Take a look at this. Castlewood is undefeated at 17-0. They're the top seed going in. And again, once they get down to the state tournament, they'll reseed it. But take a look at the girls B Sodak 16 bracket.
The Sodak 16. Now, I think when you talk about girls B, you're talking about those top 3 teams that have really separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Any one of them could be a 1 seed with White River, Castlewood, and Corsica-Stickney. Corsica-Stickney hasn't lost a game in Class B all year. White River has beaten several Class A teams, and you said it, Castlewood hasn't lost yet. So I think those are your 3 power teams here. And we're just looking at good matchups. I really like the Viborg-Hurley Andy Central Dakota Christian matchup. I think I'd really take a look at that one. You've got a really physical team that can shoot some threes as well in ACDC, and Viborg-Hurley is a team, when they're playing well, especially on the inside with Nevaeh Ronke and Sydney Voss, they're really tough to stop on the inside. So that's going to be one of the best matchups of the night.
Maybe not an upset in the first 6 seeds, but you get down to 7-8 possibly.
I think you're going to see, I think let's make some official predictions here. I got to look at my list here. I think you're going to have the top 7 seeds winning, and then that 8-9 matchup's always a kind of a toss-up. I think Waverly South Shore has some really good players, and I think they're going to crack their way into the state tournament.
All right, girls B, Sodak 16 plays out on Thursday. State qualifiers determined from that. Same thing in Class A. Play on Thursday in the Sodak 16. You got St. Thomas More and Winter as the top 2 seeds here.
Yeah, St. Thomas More, winner. I mean, Hamlin's at 8-2 this year. Ron Colley's been good. Sioux Falls Christian's been in the top 5 most of the year. You got some really good teams that can beat each other in the top 5 here. And then you get some teams that we don't know a lot about. Belle-Fourche, Hill City. They've both put together good seed points, haven't had the strongest schedule, so they draw a couple really tough battles against Parkston and McCook Central Montrose, 2 teams that I think could be really dangerous, not only in this round, but if they make it to the state tournament, I would watch out for those 2 teams. And then your typical 8-9 matchup is a toss-up. T-Area has been playing absolutely great lately, and Dakota Valley right there with them. And that's a rematch from the first game of the season when they played. And T won that one 59-51.
59-51, way back in December. But
one of the first games of the year. And I think T has really improved since then. Dakota Valley is a really good team. So you got a lot of good matchups here as well.
Belle-Fourche and Hill City, I mean, that regional, that'd be
those are the 2 that would be
regional representation that probably should get there, but you don't know.
We're going to talk a little bit more about one of the Class A teams, and that's Hamlin. And their coach Tim Koisti talked to me about what's made them so good. They're kind of under the radar as far as those top teams in Class A. He thinks they're still an elite team. 18-2. I mean, that's one heck of a season. Just reflect a little bit on how you guys got there.
We've really been playing well, especially as of late. We tried to put together a really good schedule this year, knowing that I have 4 starters back from last year and some pretty talented kids coming. Cammie and Kylie Wadsworth are a couple of really good players, but it's not just them. It's our whole team plays really well together. And we've kind of found our way. Early on, we played some really good teams, Flandreau, Castlewood early, and we kind of have been playing good. White River was really good, a couple of our losses, and we just have found a way to play together and found a way to play some defense, and we're kind of rolling.
What do you guys still have to do better to get to that? You're at the elite level, but to get to the top, what are you guys going to have to do better?
Well, one of the things that really helps us, and we don't just have to do better, but we've had several games where we'll have, I think we had 25 baskets and 23 of them were assisted. So we share the ball so well, that really helps us. But we got to find ways to shut down teams a little better than we have. We're a pretty good defensive team. I think we started the game against Sioux Valley in the regions 18-0 in the first quarter. So defensively we can play, but we just got to take that one step. Maybe we're one step outside of the lane instead of being one step to the middle. So that's one of the things that we've talked about is take that extra step to make us that elite team.
Good to talk to Tim. They do play great defense, and they've got some outstanding shooters in Cammie and Kylie Wadsworth, so watch out for them.
They've won 14 games in a row, but they're still under the radar a little bit, you think?
I think they are. I think those teams, he even said this, we didn't put this in the interview, he said sometimes the teams up north get a little bit lost in the shuffle, and I think they are maybe lost a little bit in the shuffle. They're a really good team.
All right. Again, Class A girls plays out on Thursday to qualify for the
Quick picks for you on Class A.
Yes.
I'm going to take St. Thomas More winner, Hamlin. Ron Colley is going to be tough. The Sioux Falls Christian Flandreau game is going to be closer than people think. I do think Lexi Unruh gets it done for them with Sioux Falls Christian. And I think Parks and McCook Central Montrose are really strong visiting seeds. And then T area. So I've got upsets on those last three, or ranked upsets on those last three.
T area in a 53%er.
You got it.
All right, let's move on to Double A. Girls Sodak 16, and Sioux Falls Washington is the number one seed here, and they have been the top team for the most of the year anyway.
Yeah.
Aberdeen Central's been up there a little bit. Aberdeen Central, the number 2 seed. But what about Washington?
Well, they're on an absolute tear right now. I think they've won, I didn't look, 13 in a row, I think is what they're at.
They had early losses to St. Thomas More
Right.
and to Harrisburg, but yeah, since then they've rolled.
Absolutely turned it around, and Jackalinga Winnentonda has been phenomenal, taking it to the hoop, and then every game Sydney Shetland's getting 3 or 4 blocks, a number of other that she detours shots, and she's put up 27 points last week against O'Gorman in their game, and she hit most of those from the free throw line, by the way, 11 of 15 from the free throw line. She was great down the stretch. They've got not only the star power, but a great supporting cast around them. I think Washington's really good.
In this class, are the top 8 seeds maybe a little more separated than they would be in the other classes?
I don't know. I think Washington has kind of separated themselves a little bit, but after that, Aberdeen Central has been really solid all year, and down the stretch they haven't played some of their best. Of course, they've had some tougher competition. Harrisburg at times has looked unbeatable, and at times they've slipped up. Mitchell has had a really good season this year, a lot better than people thought. O'Gorman has really come on strong down the stretch, took Washington to overtime. Looked like they could be trouble. I think Rapid City Stevens is one of the best teams in this class. Ever since they've gotten Bailey Sobchak back, they've been a really good team. And then Brandon Valley and Huron Roosevelt Central are all kind of in that same boat that if they get things going their way, they could be a tough team to beat out.
Huron Rapid City Central in the 8-9 matchup. What do you got?
I'll tell you what, Jordan Heckert is a phenomenal player for Rapid City Central, and I think when it comes to big games like that, I take big players, and I think she's going to have a big performance and find a way to beat Huron. Huron's been a little bit up and down coming on the stretch. I know you hate to hear that, Tom, as a Huron native.
Huron Arena's worth 10 points probably. So.
Well, that's true. They do get the home court on this one, so. But I'm still going to go Central.
Brandon Valley, talk about them a little bit. The Lynx 15-5. Beat Harrisburg. They beat O'Gorman twice as part of those 15 wins. What about Brandon Valley?
They can be really good. You said it. They beat some really good teams. One of the few teams to beat Harrisburg this year. And then they've had games where they went to overtime with Roosevelt, who they get to play here in the Sodak 16, and lost games like that. So they've been up, they've been down, but I think they have a really good team. And I did have a chance to talk to their second-year head coach, Mike Zerr, and he gives us a little background on this team that could be one of the surprises of the tournament.
Just kind of assess where you guys are at right now.
It's kind of a blessing in disguise in a few of those games. You know, I mean, a lot of those end of game situations, you know, like you said, everybody's good. And there are matchups that are different. You know, you get the best of somebody, you're able to get the best of somebody just depending upon the matchup that you have. You know, but we've been blessed to be in a lot of end game situations this year that you don't really get to practice. You know, so looking at it from a positive, you know, it's one of those things where hopefully we're prepared for those when we meet them, you know, going down the stretch here against Roosevelt and, you know, a really good team in them, you know, who's kind of in the same boat as we are, which is why you play in a 7-10 matchup, you know, have some high highs, have some interesting games where, you know, you maybe don't come out on top or you're able to, you know, finish the game right and that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely a season where you can chalk up a lot of different situations that we've been able to be in and some success and some failures in both of them.
You talked about it, the matchup with Roosevelt around the corner. You've played them twice. Anything that you've gleaned off those two games?
No, they're a really good basketball team. You know, you want to play again. You know, hopefully, you know, we're in that situation as well as being a good basketball team. You know, in this time of year, you know, the teams you want to play against good competition because hopefully that brings that out of you, and that's going to happen Friday night. You know, again, like I talked about earlier, we have to be able to defend them, to keep them out of the paint and limit their attacks. They're a very athletic group, just like we are. You know, and whoever can accomplish that task of, you know, getting their best players the open and consistent looks is probably going to win the basketball game. You know, situationally and coming down to the end of the game, the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, especially with, you know, teams that have competed with each other throughout the year, that's probably going to make the difference in the basketball game. You know, and so hopefully we're, like you've said earlier, you know, we're battle tested and have been through a lot of those situations. So hopefully we can, you know, apply that knowledge and, you know, and compete down to the end and come out on top with that deal. But no, we have a ton of respect for Coach Barry, and she always gets her kids to play extremely hard, and we're really well organized. So it'll be a good test for our kids for sure. We'll earn a trip to the state tournament if we get a chance to get there.
All right, Brandon Valley taking on Roosevelt. All those games in the girls AA Sodak 16 coming up on Friday to get to the state tournament.
And I'm going a lot of chalk here. I did take Rapid City Central, like I said, but after that, I'm going chalk with the top 7 seeds.
All right, boys AA plays out on Saturday at the home sites. Washington, as it is in the girls, number 1 seed. Washington 15-2. Both of those losses to O'Gorman coming in the last 4 games, I think. So what's going on with Washington?
That's exactly right. What's going on with Washington? You know, they're a stout defensive team, but most of the year they played 6 players. Sometimes they played 7 in their rotation, and I don't know if they're wearing down a little bit or if O'Gorman just has their number.
O'Gorman's been hot, though, man.
Oh, and O'Gorman they've been very hot. Washington still poses a ton of threats. They've got the size, they've got the outside shooting, they've got leadership. They don't depend on one player to make it happen. They've got all 5 of their starters can get it done, and then Cale Miedema coming off the bench has made a big difference as well. So Washington shouldn't worry.
Play Brookings, that would be what, an 80%er for you?
I'd be in the 90s. We're definitely in the 90s on that one. They will take care of business.
Yankton 2 seed. The Bucks are 17-3.
So Yankton just jumps up to number 1 in the final poll of the year. I didn't vote him number 1. I don't know. That's some recency bias. I think Washington has done more than enough to be the top-rated team here. But Yankton's very good, and they came down the stretch. They had a lot of games at home. They didn't play a lot of games in February. They spread them out a little bit. We're going to see now that the competition heats up a little bit more if they've got enough in the tank to make another push. But, yeah, they'll definitely make it to state.
Roosevelt's the 3 after Yankton and Washington. And then you got O'Gorman. And, again, OG started 6-6, but they have won their last 8 games in a row. What's going on with the Robes and these guys?
These guys, I mean, let's start with the coaching staff. They've done a great job. They've gotten better and better throughout the season. But the players have gotten better, too. David Alpers, defensively, what he brings, he's so versatile. He can be a rim protector. He can go out and guard a guard if he needs to. And then you add Eddie Myler down low with what he's done, and Cade Moffitt from the outside has been, I mean, he has been sparkling good. He's had 2 20-point games down the stretch, including the game against Washington that they won. He led the team in scoring with 22 points. A lot of studs on this team that are really rising up to the occasion.
Harrisburg, the 5, probably get by Spearfish.
They should,
Who knows?
yep.
You never know. And then you get down to the 6. Brandon Valley's the 6 seed taking on Rapid City Stevens.
Here come the good games, right? The 6-11.
Yeah.
I think Stevens is a team that has shown, they've snuck a win over on Rapid City Central just last week. But other than that, haven't really beaten a quality team yet this year. Brandon Valley is going to be a tough road for them, especially traveling across the state. And then Mitchell Watertown. Watertown's another team that has beaten some good teams and not looked that good some nights. So they've been up and down. They could definitely pose a threat to Mitchell. I still like Mitchell in that one. And then Aberdeen Central and Rapid City Central battle the Centrals. We're going to see which team shows up. But I think when Rapid City Central plays their best, and I think they will in this game, they're a better team.
54%.
54% for Rapid City Central on that one. That's exactly accurate.
Are you done with game balls for the year?
Yeah, this last week we handed out our last ones, and we already mentioned the 2, Cade Moffitt and Sydney Shetland get the last game ball of the year. We only do them for regular season games. There have been some good playoff performances already, but those didn't factor into my decision for this week.
All right, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, playoffs all over the place. Talk to you next week.
And then we got state previews next week.